Now, here's the beauty of the implementation of a promise. So let's say we are checking the user first, and then we are checking the password. What if the promise, let's say the first one fails? So let's say I'm going to just call it false. So at the first attempt, this should happen, right? The reject should happen. But we already know that we already wrote the catch over here. So this is the callback function over here for the resolve, and this one is for the reject, right? So if this one fails, right, this should run. We already know that. So let's just test it, save, refresh, and in 2 seconds, no user found happens. So when, let's say this particular promise fails, this doesn't run, and if this doesn't run, then this doesn't run because nothing happens from here, right? So it just goes directly over here, and whatever the catch callback function is will execute. All of this is skipped. But now what happens if the second check password one actually fails? All right. So I'm going to make it true. This one, check user to be true. And I will actually fail the second one. So I'm going to come over here and say false. Save. Now, before I refresh, you see this catch block is really about this one. That's what we understood in the first example. But now let's see what happens. This promise does not have a catch block. We have not written one. So now if I refresh, 2 seconds, and I say, see, password was incorrect. And that's pretty awesome, right? The promise that actually failed, so this one failed. If this one failed, it said, okay, I failed. So I'm going to skip the then block, and I'm going to go all the way down to the next available catch block. So this catch block is compatible with this promise as well as for this promise. So when this particular catch block runs, it says, okay, this is the reject callback function. I'm going to put it inside my promise. So this one failed, right? So I'm going to go reject over here. This runs, and this particular message is printed, right? Is provided to this function over here, error, and it consoles a log over here. So that is the beauty of a promise, that usually 90% of the time, you will not be creating promises. Those are going to be pre-created for you for whatever library or feature you are using. What this entire mechanism helps you is that you can have your simple implementation of do one task, then do this. Then after you're done with that, do something else, and then do something else. And then you keep on chaining your then methods and do different tasks. Now, again, they are useful only when you're working with asynchronous tasks. And what promise allows you to do is gives you a good construct so you can code good. Now, another thing is that let's say if one of your promises fail, it knows that I'm going to skip the entire chain and I'm going to go to the next available catch where I'm going to run that callback function. So you can create generic functions like error catching functions that can actually display the error message. And depending on which promise failed, you can show a different message. So you know when this one failed, we got a different message. When this one failed, we had got a different message. So those are the implementation details about a promise. Now with that, I highly recommend to you that you go to the promise page on Mozilla. And then if you scroll down, there's a link over here which says using promise. Let me scroll down. All the way on the top, actually, it's over here, using promise. That actually gives you examples of how to use a promise, which I already gave you, but this is going to clarify things for you as well. So if it doesn't, watch these videos again, Google for certain blogs and read a little bit of them. Maybe try 1 or 2 or 3 blog posts, and it's going to clarify your topic, because I know it's a confusing topic. It doesn't really embed in yourself until you use them and use it a little bit often. So with that, I'm done for the promise topic, and I'm going to talk to you in the next.